Hey folks, welcome to the Salty Seaman Military Media BS. I'm going to try something a little different today. The style I used to do this in, I was basically just kind of copying Cinema Sins, putting my own spin on it. And obviously now today the React video has become big. And, being a good military public affairs professional, I figure what's better than whoring out for the trends. So I'm going to try this version. You've seen it with Legal Eagle. He's one of my favorites. I love his reviews of Always Sunny, stuff like that, and real life stuff. There's lots of doctors who do medical shows. And, I've been doing this obviously for years. So figure let's try it in this format, see how I like it, see how you guys like it. I touched on this show already. I did a very brief, no video, just kind of audio, my little nitpicks with Marvel Universe and their military, especially on the show. Now that Winter Soldier and Falcon, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, before I get called out in the comments for being wrong on that. This will be my second time going through it, and now I'll be looking at little things in regards to the military, just that I find amusing or wrong, or how to even justify it. And obviously, the MCU has a different rule set for everything. So keeping that in mind, but also trying to apply logic as we know how the military works. I find that to be very interesting and a fun mental exercise, if you will, and just pointing out stuff that's just like, basic ignorance or just simple. We're just trying to make this simple for the audience, but the truth is obviously going to be a lot more complicated, just as it is with any kind of legal show or medical show or anything else. The truth is often boring, which is why we skip it. So that said, let's get into Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
U.S. military cannot be seen operating out there.
I got it. You guys fly low, drop me off. I fly up to intercept. No treaties violated.
Okay, what we got established now is Sam is distinct from the military. This setup is very much like saying the military cannot violate a treaty and go in and get this terrorist group. So they brought in an independent operative just to be able to dismiss basically, their involvement. I think it establishes Sam as a very deep black operative, covert operative. He's no longer in the military. That we've kept that. We know that he did not rejoin since Winter Soldier, Civil War. We know he's ex-military, but he does not rejoin. So he's non-military, and this is establishing like they're basically using his non-military status to make this mission happen, which shows how what he does when he's not avenging or taking on cosmic threats like Thanos. He's still involved in the government, but he's not military, and which brings up a great question later on in terms of him being Captain America, which we'll get to.
Oui, c'est moi qui tuerai.
All right, I would be remiss as an MMA fan if I let Batroc the Leaper go by. He is it was first seen in Winter Soldier. Was an enemy Captain America beats very early on, played by George St Pierre, former middleweight champion of the world in UFC. A little note here for a non-military note, but interesting. I know from his accent, he's actually from Quebec. Batroc is supposed to be from France. His accent is very, very wrong if you actually speak French. So there's a little continuity error there, but maybe in the MCU version, Batroc is supposed to be from Quebec. I mean, his accent would say that, or he at least lived there long enough to pick it up, post France. But always good to see GSP getting work. All right, spectacular opening action sequence. We have a bit about rules of engagement, different country lines where we can operate, where we can't. So they're establishing, there are rules to this game. The field commander's decisions, I could probably say maybe a little squirrely, depending on where he's getting his rights to engage in already a very sticky situation. But overall, they go out of their way to establish like there are rules to this. There's politics involved, and while at the same time keeping it exciting and making it's a superhero action adventure show, I'm fine with it. I can buy it.
Just wanted to note, I think Colonel Rhodes there has been a colonel for about 14 years now. Man, he is way overdue for a promotion to general, especially everything he's done. But,
It's a condition of your pardon. So tell me about your most recent nightmare.
I didn't have a nightmare.
All right, so we established Bucky does have an official pardon for being brainwashed within the Hydra operation, which was a black op under a black op, technically under at least partly under the U.S. government. So there is a lot of tape to uncover there. Also, we have specialized circumstances. In the real world, we don't have brainwashing to that level. And people with superpowers, of course. So, there are going to be special rules and situations established, I would assume. We can also assume Bucky has been officially discharged from the Army. He went MIA as a sergeant 100-something years ago. And I guess speaking of people who overdue for we'll get into Captain America. He's been a captain for 100-something years. But in terms of who's military, who's not, I think they pretty much established he is not. He is no longer part of it. Even as a special op, he is a basically the best way the show shows it is he works for the government, but he's still kind of his own guy. But he's obviously with this therapy is part of his pardon. What they mentioned, which is nice. Saying he's still under some kind of thumb to continue to be operating despite his past. He really needs to get his therapy worked out. So that's pretty realistic, kind of, sort of. I mean, they would definitely want him to get therapy, but everything he's been through is like, is he really an asset any special agent wants to use? Just everything he's been through. How much do they trust? And the show does get into that. But you can definitely see, a more real world take where they're like, he's way too damaged goods. We can forgive him, but he needs to go live off somewhere by himself because we're not dealing with the possibility of this bullshit coming back. But, TV show and, we can't, obviously we're going to keep Bucky and, explore his character, military wise. He's, I wonder, like, does he get a pension? Is there something for, technically he was in as an MIA status. That's one I had to probably look up more, but that's an interesting thought as well.
B8, sucker.
Hit.
Drink. Come on, drink.
Right, okay.
Well, you...
Definitely tickled they're playing Battleship. Certainly. I believe the game came out after World War II, so this would actually be Bucky's first time playing it. But obviously it's a game he could pick up really quick. So, kind of enjoyed this a little bit. Just obviously she has no idea he's actually 103, and she's playing a military game with a guy who played a lot of military games.
A fishing and charter model.
You know what I've always wondered? How do you guys make a living?
You mean those guys or the guys sitting in front of you trying to get a loan?
Both. I mean, your financials are all over the place.
All right, so here we get to a point where we know, Sam is definitely not in any kind of military service, active duty. I think the scene before that, impressed it. He's getting money from, they kind of hint at it. Probably Stark had something set up for the Avengers, especially those that weren't doing any other kind of employment with the government or whatnot. He says he has government contracts, but this whole scene, military-wise, there's a lot of politics and race and the entire situation. As the bank guy explains, everybody coming back after the the snap, obviously, like the housing market has to be in a weird flux, I would think. But not getting into the racial issue of it, or the political, or situational, on a military situation. Would he be active military? This loan would definitely be a lot, go in his favor, especially being an Avenger and his status. I do questions like, well, he says he has government contracts, and his status, you'd think maybe just in terms of his celebrity, they would, not want to blow this politically, because what's stopping, for me, like, what's stopping Sam from going on? It's like, hey, veteran Avenger here can't get a goddamn loan for a simple charting and fishing boat. I work for the government, blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, it's like, yeah, if he had, he has an LES statement to show them, and, well, they look, banks do look at that, they knew military is a guaranteed service and a guaranteed payment for X amount of time. If you are a careerist or a lifer, that even goes more towards it, because they're like, okay, this guy's been in X amount of years, he's going to do 20, he's going to have a pension afterwards. We can trust this. There's different things that go into it. In terms of what the show is setting up, I guess it was needed to kind of be very vague about how Sam actually lives, which is tough when he's going for a bank loan. So this part is always kind of, are the contracts so weird he can't show them financially? Like, okay, well, I'm doing this, and they pay me very well to be friggin' Falcon, and by the way, I'm a damn Avenger, I saved the world. Give me a break. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's making a political and race and social statement, which I'm not against at all. But I do question it in terms of the military contract part of it. And this ends the first episode. We are introduced to a new Captain America, who I believe, is a very much juicy, interesting character for, this series, in terms of, military. He is coming in active duty, which we'll explore next episode, and the consequences, and, just everything that would be involved in that, in terms of special projects, in terms of Black Ops, in terms of public relations. He's a very interesting character, trying to, in terms of how the military would use him, in terms of the Captain America, symbology, the overall, the importance of this person and this symbol, and how that would actually work in relations to an active duty guy. We never get Steve's, real status. He was an MIA, active duty Army captain, for 70, 80 years, and he comes back. He still works for the government, and we assume, we don't know in what exact capacity. That's obviously a very special situation. In this situation, you have that guy who actually, he's still active, taking the mantle, like Steve did back in the day. But this is I'm really interested, as I watch the next few episodes, and in those parts, to really explore that. And another thing I think I might have said, Sam was Army, which I just, in my head, I've been thinking for some reason he's Army, and they just reinforced that he's been Air Force the entire time. So, if I said anything about him being in the Army early in the video, I corrected. I'm sure I'll still get people who saw me say that and gave me comments before they finished the video. But, I really enjoyed this. We'll see how the editing comes out. And, I'm kind of doing this on the shoestring. I couldn't find my good camcorders recorder plug. I've moved recently, so I'm doing this off my phone, which I have to, it's an iPhone, which I have to convert to go to Premiere, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we'll see what the final project looks like. So far, so good. I'm really enjoying this. Hope you guys are too. And, if people seem to really like this, we'll continue on with episode 2, probably within the next week. That's it for the Salty Seaman. Hope you guys are having a good time out there as we get into post-COVID land. And hopefully, there's no reprisal. And, we kind of return to life here as normal. I'm doing the same, lots of things going on in my personal life, but, reinvigorated, having some trying to have some good fun here. And I think this is a good series to go with. So catch you freaks later, and peace.